Hello, welcome to my channel, Small Optics. My name is Jason. Now, SVbony has very kindly sent me their laser collimator to have a look at. Now, before I go any further, I just want to make it clear that I have no affiliate links whatsoever with SVbony. I don't work for SVbony. SVbony don't pay me or anything like that. The agreement I've got with SVbony is they just simply send me some of their products. I test them and I review them and I tell you folks whether it's worth spending your hard-earned cash on. I have made SVbony perfectly aware that I will do honest reviews. So with that being said, let's take a closer look and how to use this laser collimator by SVbony. Okay, here we go. This is the next generation laser collimator by SVbony, and as you can see, it comes nicely presented. And we've dropped something already. At least it's just the instructions this time. And as you can see, I'll hold it like that. We don't want any more accidents. It comes nicely presented in this little box here. This is the collimator itself, and what's also included is a 2-inch adapter, and this is for you guys that have got 2-inch focusers, so a really handy thing to have. And of course the instructions that I've dropped on the floor. Nice coloured instructions that come with that. Anyway, we'll put those to one side for a minute. Now, one thing I can say about this collimator is, sorry if I just keep knocking the microphone, I'll have to be wary of that. One thing that's about collimator, laser collimator, if you've never used one of these before, is they do need collimating occasionally. But I'm glad to say that this one was perfectly collimated straight out of the box, so bonus points straight away there. Now I'm not going to go into how you can collimate, how you collimate a laser collimator and the process. That's another video. Maybe I'll do a video on that, but all I can say to you is straight out of the box this thing was in collimation, actually spot on, so brilliant for that. Now SVbony on this particular collimator, I'll put some jargon up on the screen. They claim to have, it's got multiple lens system in here to give it a better, sharper beam of light. So whether that's, I'll have to just take their word for that. Like a lot of collimators these days, it does come with a variable brightness. Now up here on the top is how you switch it on and it's nice, it's really nice clicky into place like that. You probably can hear that clicking into place, and that gives you your various brightnesses of the beam, and that is really important because when these things first come out, I'll just put that onto 0, just switch it off, don't want to waste the battery. Yeah, when these first come out there was just one bright light, and when you dark adapter, that bright laser beam can be quite overwhelming and really spoil your dark adaptation. But with it having these, I think it's 7 or 8 different levels of brightness. And to be honest with you, you'll only be using these round about the 3 and 4 mark. Any more than that, and the beam actually gets a little bit too bright. But we'll get into how you use one of these in a minute. We'll actually collimate this thing up. This were actually in collimation. It was spot on with this when I put it in, which is a bit of a miracle. So I have knocked this out of collimation a little bit, so just to show you how you use one of these things. They're powered by a, I can't remember offhand, I'll flash it on the screen, just a single 20 something battery. They're really easily available. You can get them from anywhere online really, and even probably even your local pound shop or something like that. I'll probably sell them. But the batteries do last quite a while actually, but just remember to turn them off. That's the only thing. A little bit like finders. I mean, they're the laser finders, the amount of times I'll leave those on and I don't know, but it's surprising actually. I left one on for about 2 days the other day. The battery's still good, so it just shows you they don't use that much power. So the batteries do last quite a while. And that's all I can really say about the actual collimator itself. I mean, the most important thing, which it ticks the box, is it was collimated. So I suppose the only thing to do now is let's stick this in the telescope, and I'll show you how to collimate your telescope using a laser collimator. Right, before we get started, there's a few little obvious safety tips with one of these things. Remember, we are using a laser and we're bouncing it off mirrors. It's not generally a good combination, especially when you're going to be sticking your head down and then peering down it. So the first thing to do is obviously switch this thing on. Now, I know you're probably saying, well, of course you don't do that, but it's surprising how many people that switch these on and go like that and look to check it's on. Now, I think this habit comes from flashlights or torches, whatever, however it's called them. You know, you switch your torch on and it's like, oh yeah, it's on, and you kind of look at it. Please don't do that. You know, it's not a good idea to shine laser beams in your eyes. So, like I say, what you want to do is put this on. Put them on something like number 4 at first, and always just check on your hand. And as you can see, I don't know if you can see that, I'll probably turn it up just for the sake of the video, so you guys can see. So turn it up to something like around about 3 or 4. Now, when you insert it into the focuser, it's important that you have, if you notice on our collimator there's a target, you want that target facing the bottom of the scope, okay? The mirror, if you like. So you wouldn't put it in like that, you wouldn't put it in like that, you would put it in so this is actually facing the bottom of the telescope. Another little tip is I would rack, or this is the way I do it, I think this is in focus. I think you can get the, I think it's in shot, should I say. Rack your focuser all the way in, okay? Especially on these entry-level focusers, or dare I say it, plastic focusers. They tend to have a little bit of play in them, and having it fully racked in, it makes sure, you know, it ensures that the focuser is nice and firm. There's going to be very little movement in there. Then you want to really lock this thing off. All right, give it a good nip up. Make sure it's well locked up, nipped up. Now, if you're a regular to my channel, you probably know that I'm not a big fan of using laser collimators, and it's not the collimator itself, it's these focusers that seems to be the issue. But I'm not going to go into too much about that. If you want to hear my rant about laser collimators, I'll leave a link to in the description about that video. But for now, this is how you want to start off. Now, once you've got your laser inserted into the telescope, don't go straight away sticking your head down here and having a look, because if it is out of collimation, sometimes the laser beam can be shooting straight back out and it will hit you straight in the eye. The safest way to do it is just wave your hand in front of the telescope like that. If you don't see a red dot on your hand, it's okay then to peer in the telescope and see what's going off. So what I'll do now is I'll just bring the camera into a more place that you can see what I'm doing, and we'll have a look of what's going on inside the telescope. I hope you can see this all right. It's quite difficult to actually get focus on this one because it's focusing on two things. It wants to focus on this, but I've focused it on the mirror. Right, let me just explain what you're looking at here. This little area just here, ignore that for the minute. That's just a secondary mirror that's with the handle of the camera is just picking the secondary mirror up. What we want to be concentrating on, or what you want to be concentrating on when you are doing yours, is this red dot here. Now, the little circle just there that you can see is the center spot of my mirror, or the donut as some people like to call it. And if you look, you can see that the dot is just slightly off center. Now, what the objective is to get that dot bang in the center of your donut or your center circle. And we do this by adjusting these 3 screws here. Now, on my particular telescope, you need one of these things. Sorry about the focus. Like I say, I'm focused for the bottom of the telescope, but it's just an Allen key, and you'll probably have one of those provided with your telescope. If not, you may have got thumb screws. I wish this had got thumb screws. A lot more practical, especially when you're in the dark. Right then. Now, when you're adjusting your secondary mirror, you don't need, it's not necessary to loosen your center screw. Sometimes you may have to, and that all depends on, you'll know as soon as you start trying to alter these. And if they just seem completely solid and it may feel like the tool's going to snap, then give this just a tiny little bit of release, this center screw. And then you'll find that these will adjust more. But usually you can start adjusting and doing some, the collimating, if you like, without having to alter that center screw. Now, it's the same with the primary. Usually you only have to alter 2 screws. Now, if you're altering and you find that it won't go, if you say you're screwing in and it won't go any more up or down or wherever you want to go, that means that if you're using these 2 screws, say you're screwing them in to alter the beam, and it's not going where you need it to go, and it may be getting really tight and it wants to go a little bit more, that means that this one just needs loosening a little bit. Okay, so you'd loosen that one off and then tighten them 2 back up, and then that will put you right, or vice versa. Okay, if it's this one and this one that you are tightening and they won't go any further, then obviously this one then needs loosening a little tiny bit. You'll be able to then retighten these a bit to do the adjustment, and vice versa in the opposite way. If you're loosening on these 2 to adjust and it won't go any further, then that means this one needs tightening, or whatever combination you're doing. But generally you just have to alter 2 to do the actual collimation method. Now, I'm cheating a little bit. I know which screw or which adjustment needs altering. You may not know this, and it may just take a little bit of trial and error. But the one thing I can say is it is tiny adjustments. Okay, don't start, twisting it round and round and round. You'll get yourself in a whole world of trouble doing it that way. So just tiny adjustments. Now I'll try and do this one. Now I know it's on this one. This one just needs a little bit of a tightening, so I am breaking all the rules actually here as well, having my telescope slightly pointed up. Even though it may look horizontal to the floor, it's not, and it wants to be totally horizontal to the floor. The reason being, if I was to drop this, it's just going to stay where it is. Any tools, if your telescope's obviously any more vertical, then tools are going to drop down, it's going to damage your mirror. But like I say, for filming purposes, I have got this a little bit slightly high, so hopefully I won't drop this Allen key. Now, hopefully you can see the donut. Remember, it's this one just here you're looking at, and I need to move it into the center. And it's very important that we start with the secondary mirror. Don't start doing your primary mirror first, all right? Always start with your secondary mirror and get this one collimated first. So I believe this one just needs a little bit of a tighten, so we'll make sure that's... Make sure also that if you're using a tool that's well engaged, these little grommet screws are really easy to strip. Okay, so just be wary of that. Okay, and then if we just start tightening this, you should start seeing that the beam, if we don't knock the camera too much, is going into the center of the donut. I just have to swap glasses here. I've got to, oh, that's better, I can see it now. So a little bit more, and that's looking good. Now it looks like it's just a little bit off to the left, so that probably means, just make sure that this is engaged properly, that one of these just needs tightening a little bit. Let's just get that in. That's it. And then And sometimes what you'll find is just tightening them all up will get it where you need to be. Sorry if I'm blocking your view at the minute. Just move that out of the way. That's it. And probably this one needs just... Well, that needs loosening a bit actually. And that needs tightening. Okay, that's near, that's spotting in the centre now. So that's the secondary mirror collimated. So like I say, just take your time. It's trial and error. You know, it's a little bit of practice, and just make sure that all these are nicely locked up and nicely tight when you finish with it. And that's your secondary collimated. So now what we need to do is move on to the primary. Right then, as you can see now, the laser dot is coming down the tube, it's bouncing back up to the secondary and up through the focuser, and now coming on this little target area here. Now if you can see the little black spot in the center of that target, that's where we need to get the laser beam now to disappear down that center hole. And the way we do that is by adjusting our screws or adjustment screws at the back of the telescope, these three here, or 6 should I say. Now yours may be slightly different to this. Am I fully zoomed out? Oh, that's better. Yours may be slightly different to this. Like I say, you could have thumb screws. In my case, I've got these unfortunately horrible Phillips screws. Now like the secondary mirror, generally you only have to adjust 2 of these screws, but it's just a bit of trial and error. Now I don't want, again, if you should be familiar with your collimation screws. Just refer to your instructions of your telescope of what's what with these. You generally have a locking screw and an adjusting screw. The locking screw tends to stick out further or protrude a lot more than the adjusting screw. But what you will find, sorry about the focus, I don't know why it won't focus in on that, but what you will find is that you'll know which is which, because once you undo the locking screws, they seem to just become really loose, and you can like sort of just use just your fingers to unscrew them, as where the adjusting screws will have tension all the time. They'll be under tension constantly, so you'll know you've got the right ones. Now sometimes you can actually get this dot in the target area just by tightening up your locking screws. It depends on how far out it is. Just have a look. Just start, you know, gently adjusting the screws, and you'll see the target moving and you'll know which way to go. So what I'll do is I'll zoom back in onto the collimator itself, and all I'm doing, it's hard to film both things at the same time, so I'll just be adjusting either these two, or these two. Okay, it's different on each telescope, so we'll just zoom back in on the target. There it is, and we'll have a focus. Beautiful, and let's just start having a play. Like I say, what we need to do is get that dot in the disappear into the hole. So which way do we need to go here? Probably that needs loosening a bit. Oh, there we go, and boom, as easy as that. And as you can see now, no laser dot is visible. It's gone straight down the target, which in theory that means this telescope is now in collimation. Would I recommend this? Well, yeah, I mean, it works. It's certainly better than any of the cheaper collimators that are out there. Now you can pick these up for as little as £10–12, I wouldn't recommend them. I honestly wouldn't. Under what I've said before about collimators, like I say, I'll leave a link in the description about my rants on these things. And when you do get the cheaper ones, they are terribly collimated. You'll be in a whole world of trouble with one of those things. They kind of make the telescope worse, not better. So it's always good advice to just pay for a branded make. Companies that have got reputation, they want to keep that reputation. And like I say, out of the box, this has been a great little tool. It does its trick. It works. It collimates your telescope. Of course, I will leave links of where you can obtain one of these from in the description. Well, that's about it for another one, folks. Thank you so much for watching. If you've watched this far, I hope it's been of some use to you. Remember, I don't have any affiliate links with SVbony whatsoever, but I would recommend this actually. It's out of this style of collimator, it's one of the best I've used. So with that said, take good care of yourselves, and I will see you on the next one. Bye for now.